Hey there, I'm Julie, and this is the Married to Addiction podcast. If you're here, then you're probably what I call my secret sister. We're in a situation we never asked to be in and fighting a battle we never wanted to fight. We're faith-filled women who are married to an alcoholic, and it affects every inch of our lives. If that sounds like you, then this is a safe place for you to land. Married to Addiction is a faith-based podcast where I help you find the tools and strength you need to navigate your husband's addiction without losing yourself in the process. So please subscribe and tune in as often as you can, because your husband's recovery is important, but so is yours. Hello, and welcome in to episode 118 of the Married to Addiction podcast. This episode is called 3 Gentle Shifts That Can Make This Year Feel Easier. So hello, we just began 2026. How are we feeling? I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm sure you're feeling overwhelmed too. The end of last year was challenging in my life. But just in general, I know that as the wife of an alcoholic, a lot of times when my husband was in active addiction and a new year would start, instead of it being exciting and full of hope, it was just another reminder that things were bad and that I didn't have a lot of hope that things would get any better. So whether you are listening to this near time of recording, so January 2026, or if you're listening to it in the middle of 2026 or even next year, I want to begin by saying something important. No matter the time of year, when you have an addicted husband, putting more strict demands on yourself is not usually going to go well until you first acknowledge and support your frazzled nervous system, which we've talked about before. We're going to talk about it again today because it's really important. So new year, new you, quote unquote, is everywhere right now. But as the wife of an alcoholic, the last thing you need in your life is some rigid new plan or a long list of new goals. Because putting more pressure on yourself, especially if you're already feeling like you're hanging by a thread or running on fumes, is just going to tax your system even further. What most wives of alcoholics need instead isn't more discipline, it's more support. It's bringing more gentleness into their life. Support for your nervous system, support for your heart, and support for this incredibly difficult path that you're on right now. So today I want to talk to you about these 3 small, gentle shifts that you can make that can truly make this year feel easier, whether you are listening at the beginning of 2026, the beginning of a different year, or in the middle of whatever year you're in right now. So these shifts aren't meant to make this year feel perfect. It won't make the year totally pain-free if your husband is still in active addiction or even otherwise. I mean, life comes with pain, right? It's just part of it. But what they will do is they will make you feel steadier, more grounded, and more supportive of you, your body, your heart, your faith, etc. Now, these are shifts that you can absolutely try on your own. But if you've ever felt overwhelmed trying to figure out something like this all by yourself, at the end of the episode, I'm also going to share a way that you can be gently guided through them, these shifts that we're going to talk about. So stay tuned for that. So let's get started with the first shift. Shift number 1 is add 1 small micropractice each day. Have you heard of that term, micropractice? It's been around for a couple of years now. But a micropractice is basically just something small that you can do, but it's also something effective. So a lot of women who are also alcoholics that I've worked with feel like they're constantly behind, constantly overwhelmed, etc., emotionally, spiritually, physically. And usually the instinct to fix that is, I need to try harder. I need to do more. But the truth is, your nervous system doesn't heal through intensity like that. So when you're just already telling yourself, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do more, that's already taxing your nervous system because that's intensity. So a micropractice is something small enough that it doesn't overwhelm you, but meaningful enough that your body actually responds to it. So a micropractice for us could look like things like a grounding pause during the day, or a controlled breathing practice, a brief moment of stillness with God, maybe a sensory ritual, a simple physical cue that reminds you that your body is safe in that moment. These types of practices tell your body, I'm safe right now. And when your body begins to feel safer and your nervous system begins to feel safer, your mind naturally becomes clearer and everything else in your life begins to feel a little less overwhelming. So small practices repeated gently each day can really change everything. Shift number 2, create space for reflection instead of reaction. If you are married to someone who struggles with addiction, which I'm assuming you are since you are here, you have probably spent years reacting. I know I sure did. Reacting to moods, reacting to drinking, reacting to conflict, reacting to disappointment, right? That was my life for so long. And eventually, that constant reaction mode becomes absolutely exhausting. So, one of the most healing shifts that you can make this year is to intentionally create space to reflect instead. Reflection can look like a short but specific daily check-in that you do with yourself. Learning how to notice emotional or physical patterns. Asking reflective questions without trying to fix anything. Remember, we're reflecting. And bringing your emotions honestly to God instead of pushing them down, trying to ignore them, covering them up, etc. So what reflection really does is it gives you perspective. It slows things down. It helps you notice patterns that you're stuck in instead of just getting lost in them and having them pull you under. And here's something really important. Reflection isn't about fixing anything. Remember, this is just something that we are doing for awareness, because awareness is a foundation for every meaningful change. Have you ever heard the saying, the first step is admitting it? Awareness, right? When you take time to reflect, you stop living on autopilot. And for us, autopilot is usually real uncomfortable, the autopilot that we've settled into as the wife of an alcoholic. So when you're taking time to reflect, you're moving away from autopilot and you're starting to live with intention, even in difficult circumstances. Intention. Huge game changer. Shift number 3. Choose consistency over intensity. So this one is big. Many women begin the year with big hopes, big plans, big expectations, only to feel defeated a few weeks later, right? That's because healing doesn't happen in big bursts. It happens in small, steady steps. So if you think about it, every time that you've maybe tried to make a New Year's resolution in the past, it may feel exciting, but it also feels intense, right? Because your body is automatically reacting to, okay, we got to make this big change. It's going to require a lot of steps. It's going to require a lot of effort, et cetera, et cetera. And your nervous system already is kind of like, ah, because it feels intense. The underlying feeling of it is intensity. We're looking for consistency instead. Consistency looks like returning to things like micro practices, even if you miss a day, or even if you miss 2 days. Letting progress be gentle instead of regimented. That one is so big. We don't need regimented, intense. We need gentle, soft progress that still moves us forward, but does not feel overwhelming. It feels doable because things in our life are already so hard. Another way to be consistent is always choosing kindness towards yourself when things do feel hard, because you do not need to be setting yourself up for self-recrimination if you don't do what you said you were going to do, or if things don't go as planned, because like I said, everything already is hard around you. Choose kindness towards yourself. And consistency also looks like showing up again and again, ever so gently, even after hard nights, even after hard days, even after hard weeks. You're going back to being consistent with the things that are serving you well. Consistency means I'm committed to caring for myself however I can, even when life is messy. Doesn't that sound a lot more doable than having a goal sheet on your wall of all these things that you want to accomplish? And you know what? You're going to accomplish those things. You're going to get there. You're going to do the things that you want to do. There will be room in your life and space in your life for things like that. But if that feels too big and too hard and too much right now because of everything else that's going on, you can still commit to caring for yourself however you can, even when life is messy. This is not an all or nothing. And here's the beautiful part. When your body starts to notice that you are showing up for yourself, even in small, gentle ways, like we've talked about, it starts to settle. And when your body starts to settle, you don't feel like you're constantly starting over, or you don't feel like you're constantly failing, or you don't feel like you're constantly striving and pushing. Instead, you feel supported. You feel supported by yourself. You feel supported by God because you are connecting with Him through these things. And you feel supported by these rhythms that you're building into your life. Now, you may already be doing some of these things that we've been talking about. You might already have some small practices that you use that help you feel steadier when you need them. You may already have some set aside time where you're having quiet moments with God. And you may already be trying in your own way, however it looks, to show up consistently for yourself. And if that's you, I want you to know that I am proud of you for any or all of that. Because what these types of gentle shifts offer is a sort of a framework for us, guardrails for us, a way to move through this difficult season with more intention and support for ourselves instead of carrying everything on your own shoulders. So some women do prefer to just take these ideas that we've talked about and gently weave them into their own lives in whatever way feels right to them. And I absolutely support you in that. If you are the kind of person like me who appreciates having a little more structure and guidance and a just tell me what to do person, that's totally me. Not because you can't do it yourself, but because doing so just might feel a little too overwhelming right now. And understandably so. You're going through a lot. So if that sounds more like you, then I have something that can help you. This month, from January 11th, which is just a few days from now, to January 31st, I'm going to be rolling out a new offering called From Surviving to Steady, a 21-day reset to stop spinning and start steadying. So it will probably also be offered as an evergreen product after January. So if you're listening to this episode a little later than that, just check the marriedtoaddiction.com website to see if it is currently accepting signups. But as of time of recording right now, it is currently on the website in the navigation bar. So at marriedtoaddiction.com, if you head there, you will see one of the drop-down choices is 21-day reset. If you sign up right now, you also retain access. So it is being held from January 11th through January 31st, which is when the content will be released over those days. But you'll retain access after that too. So you can return back to this reset time and time again in the future, whenever you need it. If you need it again in a month, if you need it again in 6 months, whenever, you can go back to it as many times as you want. This reset is simply a guided way to practice these same shifts that we've talked about here. One day at a time for 21 days. There's no perfection. There's no keeping up. Yes, it's releasing one per day, but nobody is going to, come to your house and knock on your door if you miss a day or 2 or 4. This is just gentle guidance, thoughtful prompts, and faith-rooted encouragement to help you support your body, your mind, and your heart right now in this season. While you're walking a difficult path, while we're starting a new year, all of the things. Inside the reset, you are going to be guided through simple daily micro practices. So I will give you a daily micro practice, something simple, something gentle, something that's not really time consuming, one per day. Also a guided reflection prompt. Now, if one of the things you're worried about or you don't really like is having to write stuff down or find a journal or whatever the case, I also have made it to where you can answer these guided reflection prompts in the portal where you will access the materials. If that sounds like something that would be helpful for you, that is available in this offering as well. There are also nervous system supportive rhythms for you through the content, faith-rooted encouragement, again, woven into the content because that's part of this, right? It is a pace that feels not demanding. This is going to be doable. You don't have to come up with a plan. You don't have to wonder if you're doing it right. You don't have to push yourself beyond your capacity. You're simply guided one gentle day at a time. But whether you choose to walk this out with the 21-day reset as your guide or on your own, my hope for you is the same, that this year feels a little lighter, that it feels a little steadier, and that it feels a little more supportive of you. So as we move into this new year, I want to remind you that it doesn't have to be harder than the last one. It doesn't have to be heavier. It doesn't have to be lived in survival mode. Because sometimes all it takes is just a few small shifts like these, practiced gently and consistently, to make life feel more manageable again. So if you're ready to walk through those shifts with the support of the 21-day reset, again, it is here for you. You can find it at marriedtoaddiction.com. But whether you join us for that or not, I hope that today's episode reminds you that you matter, your well-being matters, and it's okay to choose a softer, more gentle way forward.
Quick question for you before I let you go today. Have you been to the Married to Addiction website? If you haven't, I would love if you would go pay it a visit. It's just marriedtoaddiction.com. And over there, you can see just a lot of different information about my podcast. There is a blog on there. There's some free resources for you. And there's also a few ways that you can actually get some help if you need a little more help and direction and support as you travel this difficult path with your addicted husband. So if you haven't yet, please go visit marriedtoaddiction.com. Thanks so much.